Hello everyone, Helen here. How are you doing? I hope you're okay, and I'm very glad you've come to stop by today to spend a little bit of your time with me here in my craft room in Durham in the northeast of England. And if you are new, a very big welcome. I am a piano teacher, part-time, working from home, and I spend most of the rest of my time being creative, making things out of yarn, sometimes from fabric, and making videos is part of my a whole range of hobbies that I do, and occasionally I chat to you from the camper van as well, and hopefully I will be again very soon, because we've just come back from another camper van trip to a lovely area of Scotland called Fife, the Kingdom of Fife, and I will be putting that all together for you very soon, next week or the week after, and take you along on another camper van trip. But today I am just showing you 3 finished knitting projects, and then taking you back to Beamish Open Air Museum, where I took you a couple of weeks ago and showed you one little area of it, and I'm going to take you and show you a bit more this week. But to begin with, let's get to Peter Rabbit. So a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, I showed you that I'd finished knitting Peter Rabbit and Jemima Puddleduck from a fairly new book by Garland called Knitting Peter Rabbit. I did have all kinds of challenges using that book. It's been interesting that some of you have told me in the comments that you've also had a bit of a problem with the book, so much so that you've maybe not even managed to continue. Although I think 1 or 2 of you have got on okay with it. So yeah, we're all different, aren't we? And some things are just beyond us. We just can't connect with the way that the pattern maker has written the pattern, and that's certainly, well, I mean, I did manage to finish, didn't I? I did have 2 finished toys. Anyway, when I showed you last time, neither of those 2 characters had any clothes, and they are now dressed. And I had made a start on Peter Rabbit's jacket as the first thing that I made, but sadly I just trusted the template in the book to be the right size, and when I cut it out of my lovely bit of blue felt that was the perfect colour, and tried just that part on without any sleeves in it, it was just too tight. So silly me, I should have done a test one first, but I didn't. Anyway, I've learned from that. I had to order some more felt, and yes, and then I did. I made a little template like that out of cotton, and I added, you have to cut it out folded, like on a fold. So I added about, I think I added about 2 more centimetres, almost 2, maybe 1.5 centimetres, about 3/4 of an inch to the centre, so that it was wide enough to go around his back. Tried that on, and then that was fine. I did, yes, I had to increase the size of the armholes as well. Anyway, then I cut it out of felt, cut the sleeves out, and here he is in his beautiful little blue jacket, and I am ever so pleased with that. I haven't sewn a lot of dolls' clothes, I've mostly knitted them, and so I still did find it a little bit tricky setting the sleeves into the armholes. Still, with some instruction from my mum over the phone, telling me how to do it, I managed to do that okay. I did find that the collar just kept sticking up, so I put a line of running stitches around there just to hold it down, and it does kind of flap out a bit like that. And didn't say, I don't think it said to put buttonholes in or anything, because Peter was just shown with his jacket open all the time. Anyway, I was very pleased that I found 3 matching buttons to go on his jacket, and I think that looks really, really smart. And I also made his little slippers or shoes. I did have a bit of a problem with them because the template in the book, I don't think make the same slippers as Peter in the photos in the book are wearing. It looks to me, although you don't really get a really good view of them, but it looks to me like they're just slip-on shoes, slip-on slippers with no bit coming up the back, the heel part of the shoe. But the template, it looked like you had to sew up the back to make proper little shoes rather than flippy floppy ones. So that confused me, and again I called upon my mum. She's got a copy of the book and she had a look and she said, oh no, you need to sew the seam up the back of the little shoes, to make proper shoes rather than flip flop ones. Anyway, I got over that and they're very nice. They fit him. I did make them slightly larger than the template in the book because I'd had to increase the size of the jacket. So, and they do fit him perfectly and they stay on, they don't fall off. So yeah, so that's great. I'm really pleased with that. I will show you some closer up photos in a moment, but let me just talk about Jemima first. So Jemima's clothes were ever so much easier to make because they were both knitted. Bonnet and shawl were knitted. The shawl was very, very straightforward to make. It just uses the drops mohair. I can never remember the name of the drops mohair. Anyway, it's mohair, and you use it double. I think I used it double. I didn't follow the instructions for the tassels that were given, because they seem to involve making the tassels and then sewing them on, whereas I just threaded a few strands of yarn onto my needle and pulled them in and then looped them through, if you know what I mean. And they'll stay there fine. So that's good. And then finally with the shawl you have to embroider lazy daisy stitches all over it. And I love doing that. I've never really embroidered on knitting before. I think I've embroidered on crochet, but but not on knitting. It was lovely, really nice. The bonnet was a little bit harder to make. Well, the knitting part wasn't really that hard. The instructions were clear enough. The slightly tricky bit was adding the ribbon to the back of the bonnet. And I haven't gathered it that evenly really, but I quite like the look of it, so I'm fine with it. And it fits her, so it looks really good. And I noticed actually when I looked at somebody else's photo of Jemima that I realised that I'd forgotten to do a bit of extra embroidery on her beak and up here, but I've decided not to do that. I like the look of her expression as she is, so I'm not going to alter that by adding anything else to her face. So there we go. And so the other day my husband and I went out just for a little outing to go and see some snowdrops that we like to go and see when they're out at a churchyard not too far from us. And I thought I'll take Peter and Jemima with us and they could have a little photo shoot amongst all the snowdrops. So I've made a little video to show you now, and I'm going to follow that straight away with another even shorter video also of the same churchyard where there were lots of purple crocuses as well. Not nearly as many as the snowdrops, but there were lots of purple crocuses. And I spent ages watching these great big fat bees having such a lovely time diving inside the crocuses. So I did do a little bit of a video for that. So yeah, let's go and have a look at that. Jemima and Peter, and then the bees. So the third finished project that I'm going to show you today is also a toy, and this is from a pattern from a designer, should I say, that I have never ever used before. A very well known one if you like making toys, and I know that some of you watching will definitely have made a few of these toys, and the designer is MaryJanesTearoom. She makes lots of gorgeous bears and dolls, but other animals as well. I think she does rabbits, doesn't she? She does big floppy-eared rabbits, and I don't know why I've never made one before, but I was really inspired to have a go when I was watching lovely Anne from the Sparnits YouTube channel, who actually, I think more often than not, she's knitting the most amazing jumpers and cardigans and things, and absolutely beautiful work. I'm always impressed by the jumpers and things that she makes. But anyway, she decided to make a teddy bear by MaryJanesTearoom, and the thing that really sparked me was her saying that it was knitted in the round, and I didn't realise that those patterns could be knitted in the round. And it turns out that you can either knit them flat and then do all the seams on the legs and body and arms and things, which is fine if you only like knitting flat, but you can, as an alternative, choose a pattern to knit in the round. So I went off and got myself a pattern for the 8-inch teddy bear, and then a pattern for some lovely dresses as well. And so my little bear is now finished. Here she is. They are really the most excellent patterns. They're so well written, everything is explained, and there's loads of photographs, and I can't recommend those patterns highly enough. You know, there was nothing left to doubt. Well, maybe the one thing that I missed, because I am missing the Moosh and Friends by Cynthia Vallée book, which I've been obsessed with. Yes, in the Cynthia Vallée's patterns, she always makes you leave a little marker for where the eyes are going to go, or markers for the eyes. Whereas you don't with this, you have to sort of, you know, you do leave a marker for the centre of the top of the head, but then you have to make sure you've got the eyes, the right number of stitches beside. It wasn't that hard really, but anyway. But the patterns really are excellent. And I used some part of a ball of Debbie Bliss Luxury Donegal Tweed, Aran weight. Well, I think that's worsted weight, isn't it? That I just left over from some other project. I only had a tiny bit left when I finished the bear. There is a contrast colour I used here in, I don't know what that yarn was. But it was just the right amount that I had left, and I was very glad about that. And I love the effect that has on this teddy bear's fur. It seemed a bit strange to me to be not knitting an animal all in one, so I ended up with a head and 2 arms, the body and legs all in one, which was great, and the ears to sew on as well. And so I finished making them, and then I left them for at least a week before I actually braved sewing them together. Anyway, as you can see, I did get around to doing that. She is a particular design that you can always tell that this is a MaryJanesTearoom teddy bear. I think maybe the shape of the head, the fact it's got quite big feet. Haven't you got quite large feet, but very cute? Yes. Anyway, then I got onto knitting her dress, which was knit from the top down. So I got so far down, and I did the rows that it said to do, the number of rows it said to do before you do the little colour work part of the pattern. And I thought, this is not going to be long enough for this little bear. So I added an extra 5 rounds on, and I thought, this still doesn't look really long enough. So I tried the dress on, definitely not going to be long enough. So then I measured the bear herself and found that she's actually 10 inches tall instead of 8 inches. Well, she was about 26 centimetres instead of 20 centimetres. So quite a difference. I don't know why she is so much taller than she's meant to be, because the dress actually fits perfectly around her body. So it's not that she's larger, widthways or anything. It's just her height. So anyway, I just added quite a few more rows. I think I did probably 12 more rounds, than it actually said in the pattern before I started the little colour work bit for these toadstools around the bottom. And I chose to do the frilly edge to make it nice and party-ish. You could just do a plain garter stitch edging on there. And then I spent absolutely ages adding the dots to or the spots, should I say, to the mushrooms, toadstools. You just have to do French knots for those. And this was the one place where I didn't do what the pattern said. She says to sew in your ends each time you finish a toadstool. But I didn't do that. When I'd finished one toadstool, I just very loosely wove in my wool to get along to the next toadstool, so I didn't have to keep tying in ends. Then I made the little collar and sewed that on, although it is sticking up a bit. keeps sticking up. Maybe I need to sew it down a little bit more or something. I did block the things before I put them together, but anyway. And also I made the buttonhole a bit big at the back, the button loop, so the button is a bit further to one side than I would really like, but never mind. Anyway, it looks lovely and I'm really, really pleased with her. Yeah, I don't think it'll be the last. I don't think you'll be the last little Mary Jane's tea room bear that I make. And oh yes, and I've named her Pomme. She's called Pomme, as in the French word for apple. I think probably I was thinking of those crisps you can get. Have you ever had those crisps called Pomme bears? They're in the shape of teddy bears. I mean, I haven't had them for a long time, but that's probably why I got the idea of Pomme for her. Anyway, there we go, Pomme. You go and lie down there. Okay, now let's go off to Beamish. And if you watched last time, you'll know that it's a huge museum. It's over a huge area. And it has lots of little areas which are like villages or little towns or farms set at different times in the past. And last time I took you to the 1900s town and we had a look at the sweet making there. But today I am going to show you some of the transport that you can go on, because it's over such a wide area. You can actually get old buses and trams to the different places. And I'm going to take you to the 1900s pit village, where there was actually a real drift mine. And you can actually go down the mine. We didn't on this occasion, but I love the row of pit cottages there. So I'm going to show you those. Then I am going to take you to the 1950s area, which is the newest part of Beamish. I think it's going to be a town rather than a village. And there's quite a bit there already, but they are still busy building things. They're making a 1950s cinema, for example, and I'm not sure what else is in their plans. But I'm going to give you a little taste of what's there at the moment in the 1950s village, and I'll pop back again at the end to say goodbye. Well, I do hope you enjoyed that little trip to Beamish again, and that's where I'm going to finish for today. So I hope that you will take good care of yourself and keep nice and busy, and I'll be back again very soon to chat to you. Okay then, bye.